Please like and subscribe to the Couch and the Rube YouTube channel. Also, download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, our Tuesday show, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Football season is near. Week 1 lines are out. Michigan State, Toledo, the Lions. Start looking around. We'll start doing our picks really soon. Also, at Firekeepers Casino off I-94 in Battle Creek, celebrate all month long, all August, the 17th anniversary food special. 17 years of Firekeepers Casino. Great stuff there. At Dacey's Taproom and Sportsbook, which is the in-house sportsbook right there at Firekeepers Casino. Chicken Caesar pizza, pickled pie at the cafe, bison meatball hash, which I may just have enough to kill me. And then at Smoke and Fire, fried chicken biscuit. All great specials all month long at Firekeepers Casino on I-94 in Battle Creek. Jason, how you doing, brother?
The Gritty Tigers got hot in August, and they completely flipped the script of this season. So our record right now on August 3rd does not define us.
He's got a stupid-looking face.
Hey, buddy.
How are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well.
How's it being back into the grind?
Of the LSJ, you mean?
Yeah.
After 5 weeks of paternity leave. It's and really 7 of 8 weeks is what it was. Yeah, it's different. Yeah. It's
I love that someone asked you, like, what are we doing? Is it Tuesday, Monday? When's the show? And then you had to give your explanation. It just makes it's just so funny, like, because I always read it in your voice. So like,
yeah.
But first day back at the State Journal.
Well, I thought about it.
I can't do a podcast. You think I could do a podcast?
I love this show. I love everything about this show.
I know, but you made it sound like it's like you labor over this shit all day. You know.
Well,
felt bad.
It's like 4 to 5 hours of the day.
Damn. Okay.
So like if you come back after 5 weeks off and you tell your boss, he's like, "What do you got going day one?" You're like, "Actually, I'm gonna be doing Couch in the Rube most of the day, so I'll talk to you on Tuesday."
Yeah.
I just thought it was better to reverse him this week. And
more important shit going on here.
Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah.
So
got to break down the Skubal Mize trades and listen to Scott Harris. I did watch his presser. It was so interesting.
Well, anyway. we are going to dig into all that. I mean, because that is the big story. We got some really good stuff from our listener takes as well. Some great MSU football and basketball discussion. I think when I sent out the tweet calling for takes, I said not all the Skubal takes will get in, and I think doing that helped the show. Because what I fear in a show like this, and we've done these shows,
people love parameters too when they're given parameters.
Nothing like guidelines. Yeah,
only one question.
But we
might get to it. We're so pompous.
We've done the shows where there's one really central issue, and we ask for listener takes.
Yeah.
And everybody's got the same issue, and an hour and 55 minutes later, you and I are like, that took 8 hours. Oh my God, that's a long show, and it doesn't seem that interesting. So, but by doing that, we got a lot of really good stuff today. So,
all right,
we got a lot of good Skubal and my stuff. Somebody did point out that I set the deadline for listener takes an hour before the actual Major League Baseball trade deadline, which is not the smartest thing in the world. But we got some my stuff in there. People who didn't listen, which I appreciate as well. And we'll get into all that.
I mean, I'm sure Graham has a lot of takes about Mize because he's the happiest that he's gone. And, I get that.
I sort of am. Well, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Go ahead, man. Let's go.
I really like what the Tigers did. And I like what Scott Harris said about it. And I like the return. Now, I have no way of knowing whether it's going to be great value. And I don't think we know whether prospects will develop. But I think they got guys who have a chance to develop for guys on expiring contracts. Guys with no more than like 8 starts left for them. And that's the thing. These are rentals. Now, for the teams they went to, they may also come with playoff appearances, which has a lot more value. Like if you get 3 rounds of the playoffs with Tarik Skubal, that means more than like 8 regular season starts. I get that. So what he means for the Dodgers, what Casey Mize, although the odds that Casey Mize doesn't come out of his next start with a hangnail is like 4%.
Have fun with that, Padre fan.
Yeah, good luck there.
Oh, man.
But I mean, like I really
not going to
like
miss those updates.
Jahmyr Hope. And I know people are like, he's the outfield prospect from the Dodgers. He wasn't a top 5 prospect for them, or he's like their 5th best prospect. Yeah, but he's a top 25 prospect in baseball. You can frame things any way you want. I mean, the guy that the class of the Casey Mize trade, Cash Mayfield, he's like the 2nd best Padres prospect, but he's nowhere near rated as high as Jahmyr Hope. So like it really depends on the organization. I like him as a potential impact outfielder. Will he be one? Who knows? He's a prospect. He's probably a year and a half away, or at least the next season away. I think River Ryan has a chance. He's had some injuries and other things, but for a guy, I mean, Skubal was maybe you drag this team somehow to the playoffs, but I don't think this team had really earned the right to take that chance with the potential only getting a draft pick back when Skubal walked away, and he was going to leave. And I think Scott Harris talked about how there was just no chance they were gonna sign him. I like the deal, and I think when you got a guy who's like a consensus top 25 prospect in baseball for a rental, and you get a couple arms who are intriguing, I think that's a good deal. I think Casey Mize, who I think has 0 value, when you trick somebody into taking him,
0 value.
No, 0, but he has value.
Is it because of the injuries?
It's a little of both. I think
Mize didn't have the injuries. I think he's got good stuff. It's just dealing with that day in, day out. It was just getting preposterous.
Correct. And how do you sign a guy as a free agent? Like he is to me, he's a number 3 starter when he's healthy. He's an oft-injured number 3 starter. And those guys have who was going to be a free agent who wasn't going to be back. And, you get guys who I think are going to be value. I think, Cash Mayfield's a former first-round pick. Now, lots of guys don't work out who are, but he's the number 2 prospect in a weak crop of minor leaguers the Padres have. He's a left-hander. We'll see. I don't know. But 21 years old, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all for Casey Mize. I liked what they got. I think you saw today Brian Cashman of the Yankees saying that they tried to get Skubal, and obviously they could have thrown more of their prospects at it, but it doesn't. A lot of people thought they only looked at the Dodgers, like the Dodgers, made off with like bandits again with Skubal. I think the Dodgers did. I think the Dodgers got a decent deal because the Dodgers have a great farm system, and it doesn't hurt them to lose these guys, and they're probably going to sign him anyway. And they're going to favor
left-handers on the pitching staff. Dude.
So again,
forget it.
But I don't think it was a bad deal for the Tigers. Do you?
I'm not. It's too early to say. I don't know. Like I just the bigger deal for me, and it's not against the Dodgers or anything like that. It's more about Scott Harris. And I did pull a clip because I did watch his press conference the other night. Was it last night or 2 nights ago, where he was talking about. Cody Stavenhagen did ask him, like, what was the timetable? And it just seemed, let me just play this.
We explored an extension once. The response that I got from Tarik's agent was pretty clear that he was intent on going to free agency and exploring the market, which is totally his right. And nobody should be upset about that. He has put himself in a position to be able to explore a market, and he decided that he wanted to do that and should not be criticized for it. But it was very clear from the exchange about what the intentions were, and he deserved it. And so I expect him to be a free agent this winter. And
so you can't criticize it too. That's the other problem I have with Scott Harris is he tries to tell you in the explanation. But my thing is with Scott Harris, it's his long-term thinking. And I know, like, obviously from the reports, and I think even Scott said it himself, like they offered him $75 million last year and Scott Boras. So you basically knew that you were going to lose a guy like Tarik Skubal.
They lowballed him for
so
sure.
Why not trade him last year?
Correct.
Like, my problem with Scott Harris is that he thought that this was a World Series caliber roster. It isn't about getting rid of Skubal and getting rid of Mize. I do like the Mize deal. Like I said, I was getting sick of Casey Mize. I thought Mize had great stuff. I'm a fan of his. I would have liked to have kept him, but getting that deal and getting rid of that is okay with me. I don't know if those prospects are going to be worth two shits. I don't know. Tarik Skubal to the Dodgers, like getting those guys back. My question was that the best deal? Like the Brewers weren't at all trying to, because I feel like if you get Skubal, like you got a shot to kind of maybe shock the world a little bit and make a run for it. Because if you're the Brewers long term, you're not going to be sitting there in the mix. Why not try to have a rental and go for it? That was my only question with the Dodgers deal, right? And I know they wanted Sheehan who got absolutely shelled, gave up 3 home runs in his next outing in one inning. So it's not like, so it's hard to sit here and look at these prospects and tell you with a straight face, like I know anything about some of these guys. I've crushed tape the past 48 hours, but what does that mean? I just think it's interesting that listening to Scott Harris talk is I just don't know if he has it in him to look towards the future or kind of see that where that was going. He didn't even mention Boris by name. He just said Tarik's agent. So obviously there is some tension there, and you knew you weren't going to get a deal and he was going to test free agency. Why wait this long when the value wasn't going to be there? That was my only question.
So I guess my question would be, like last year they got to the playoffs with him. And the best value for him probably would have been a year ago at the trade deadline when somebody would get, even if they didn't know if they were going to sign him, would get 2 years of playoff runs out of him, right? That would be a much greater value.
Yeah. Made the playoff, but blowing a 15-game lead for the division.
Correct.
I mean, so you have to have, as you say, the tea leaves. Read the tea leaves of what's going on with your ball club.
How much better was the value in this offseason? I don't know.
There had to have been better options, I think.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't trust Scott Harris. That's not what I'm saying here. Scott Harris has
I feel like I do a little. Like
do
it's
you?
50. Yeah, like I feel like evaluating talent somewhat.
Well,
I feel like Scott Harris can do that with prospects, and his mind is right for that. I'm just talking about making moves and trying to get like these windows where we're trying to make them like just go all out for a couple of these guys is all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I do think he.
I mean, we all knew Skubal was going to the Dodgers for the past 6 months or so. It was just a formality. I just see these 3 guys. And hearing you talk about them, I don't know. I just feel like that was the best deal on the table.
There were lots of reports that thought he might go elsewhere, that thought there might be more of a bidding war over him. What I was confused about that is the Dodgers are the only place to me that doesn't feel like a rental because they can afford whatever. So he has more value probably to them. And I wonder who they'll be bidding against. I wonder what the actual number will be. I don't think he's worth what he's going to get probably. We'll see what that actually is. I just don't. To me, even if you're an elite pitcher, which he is, he's won the Cy Young in the last couple of years. There's only so much money you should pay a pitcher who's had the injury history. He's had approaching 30, and in a few moments that they've needed him to go deep into games, hasn't been able to go. I think that's significant, especially when you've got a bullpen that isn't great. Anyway, I didn't mind the deals. I know some people were upset. You see all sorts of takes. You see people angry that he's gone. You see takes are flying all over the place.
But who are they angry at, though? If you're angry at Skubal, I have no issue with that. If you're angry with the Dodgers, I don't have any. I mean, obviously the Dodgers, are they doing anything wrong?
My disappointment in Skubal is this: he behaved like, or he's talked like he wanted to be in Detroit. And if you really want to be in Detroit, you're a grown up. Like, tell your agent, I would like to be here. Let's try to negotiate. Now, if the Tigers' ceiling, which I don't think it was, if for a salary offer, it was like the 4 years, $75 million, which is ridiculous. If that was really, what you're looking at, then it's not. This isn't a serious situation for the Tigers. I'm pretty sure.
But in defense of Skubal on that, though, when you're asked time and time again in the clubhouse and people are at your locker, you have to say those things. But everybody in the organization, including Scott Harris, knew that the agent, they rejected their kind of mid-offer, and arbitration was a disaster. So why not trade him a year ago is what I mean. Trade deadline.
I have great disdain for a situation where Boris has control over his clients rather than the client having control over the agent. I
don't think it's all Boris, though. I think Skubal wanted to go to the Dodgers, too, and get out of here. Like, that's why he was doing his whole world tour, which, again, is annoying as well.
Yeah.
Last year when he was coming down to Michigan State and doing all of those things, it's like, okay, so you're basically saying goodbye. And we have to sit here. And, and then Scott Harris also mentioned that when he decided that these were the moves that he was going to make, was during that game where Skubal left when they were up 7-0 and Finnegan came in and shit his pants. I'm like, it took you that long to understand where your ball club is right now. Look at your bullpen. Like, there's no way we were competing in any kind of playoff series this year. There's no way. So that's what I mean. Like, I just feel like he didn't get as much value for Skubal over the years like he could have. I feel like it could have been different. And yes, it would have hurt a little bit more getting rid of him because, like, not knowing what was going to go into this season. But last season kind of showed you what this ball club was about. And going back to the gritty Tigers and the fact he says that. I mean, that's the thing. It's just like I was like sitting there watching the presser. I'm going like, all right, good for him. He's out in front of it talking to these guys. And he's like, yeah, you can't say anything bad. Do not say anything bad about Skubal. I'm like, F you, and F him. How about that? It's pretty simple. Like I don't know why we have to sit there and pussyfoot around when everything in baseball takes 9 years to come to fruition anyway. Well, this is where I'm at right now. I'm pissed off. And I think baseball, obviously, there's going to be a work stoppage next year. So, have fun with it.
Are you more now? The Tigers have brought up Max Clark. They made moves. Are you more in?
Should have been a while ago.
Like, are you intrigued by the last 2 months of the Tiger season?
I'm intrigued about the young core. I don't know how much I'm going to care about the rest of this season because watching them beat up on the A's and I don't know. What am I supposed to get excited for? Like, do we have a playoff run? Oh, we're 2.5 out of the wild card. Okay. Our bullpen is an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear all of the press conference. I heard about 25 minutes of it, but I didn't hear him talk once about how bad the bullpen has been or how we have to strengthen that or whatever. So I'm not going to sit there in the last 2 months of this season and I don't know. I don't even know what I'm rooting for anymore. And sitting there looking at the Dodgers going to win 3 championships in a row, and there's going to be a work stoppage. So, so even the prospects that we have, when are we going to see them again? I mean, even McGee and Max Clark, we going to even see them in 2027? I mean, that's the big issue, is baseball has a serious problem. And I understand the salary cap, it'll never happen. There's going to be a work stoppage, and there's no way the players are going to agree to that. And I guess I can understand that from their standpoint, but you can't be excited about the Dodgers and the way that they're going about this. They're just getting rid of whatever farm guys they have that have any value and getting some. I mean, they're paying Kyle Tucker $40 million to be absolute ass.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a terrible. And I just love the game of baseball, and I don't want that to happen to baseball. So it's more of that. It's not being angry at the Dodgers. They did what they had to do. I get it. Why not trade for Skubal?
Yeah.
Hell, they got Bubic from freaking KC. I mean, this is just ridiculous. They just pluck whoever they want. But
yeah, I'd like to see some reforms in baseball that allow things. But I also think there should be a floor, and I'm hoping that we get that too. Like, if there's going to be a salary cap, there ought to be a salary floor. There shouldn't be teams that are on the cheap, that can't afford, that act like they can't afford it, that are making money, that aren't delivering for their fans. Like, you should spend, if you want to own a baseball team, compete, and I think the Tigers payroll now says they are. It just doesn't always feel like they're putting their best foot forward. But this particular trade deadline, the trade deadlines to this point under Scott Harris have been kind of a disaster. This trade deadline, I thought, was pretty strong, at least on the outset. We don't know what these guys are going to become. I like what they got. I'm not saying the Dodgers didn't do well too, but I don't think you didn't walk away from this saying, based on the situation now, not that I'm not disagreeing they shouldn't have got rid of him earlier or shouldn't have done more this season if they were going to keep him with building a roster around him, but I don't hate what's now.
Especially what happened in May with this team and the lineup and how bad that was that month of May. Right, it was absolutely atrocious.
It was
so Scott Harris is looking at it going like, I just can't. I can't understand his timeline of thinking. Like, I just can't. Does he not foreshadowing anything or foreseeing anything of like possibilities of it's just gritty Tigers. So that pretty much proves the point. Is just backing in 24 and 20 or what years do I have? 25, 24 and 25, backing in 24, and then 25 blowing that division lead. He's not foreseeing anything. He's not like, wow, man, we have to upgrade here.
Yeah, I don't. He acts like he's the smartest guy in the room, and I don't know that he's actually smart enough to pull off what he's trying to do. And that's a question I have for him. I mean, I don't know. You don't want to actually ask that.
He's a pretty smooth character.
Are you smart enough to do this? No. But
and who does your hair? That was my question. I was sitting there watching the presser. I'm looking at this. I'm like, damn, dude, who does your hair? You do that? You wake up in the morning, do that in the mirror? Okay.
That's always been. Remember when I talked about my barber, my stylist, Melissa, on the show? And Dominic now goes there, like one of our listeners, and I think maybe some others have gone before. But my fear,
Dominic again.
Sorry, my fear was like my hair doesn't always look great when we come in here. Am I actually helping her? This is not like This is not like a paid sponsor or anything. But like, am I actually hurting her business? People are like, oh, good.
I think people are unlike Scott Harris, where they can look at your hair and do the math of like, listen, this lady can only do so much. Like this is, mostly your fault, genetics fault.
Yes,
you can't really blame the barber, the hairstylist.
Right. That's a really good point. Do you have another take you want to get into?
The other signings or the other contract negotiation going on is the Jahmyr Gibbs contract thing. And now apparently he's out another day. They say it's not related to this. But Bijan Robinson set the market today, signing a 3-year extension worth up to $75 million, $51 million guaranteed. And I looked at that deal, Graham. And I texted Michigan fan Jordan. We were talking. I go, I got to say, like he said it too, I like that deal. I wish we would have signed Jahmyr Gibbs to that kind of deal. That seems like exactly what we need to sign Jahmyr Gibbs. We extend him 3 years. You're not signing any kind of long-term, right? I guess it's long-term in running back kind of terms. But a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, that's the kind of deal you have to kind of get if you're Brad Holmes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not a...
Obviously, it's going to be a little bit juiced because of signing after Bijan, because he's signing kind of setting the market. But I feel like if you're drafting a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round like Brad Holmes did, and that's the same thing with like Skubal and some of these other guys, like when you draft these guys and you want to sit there and wax poetic about what they could be, and then they kind of do what you were hoping and expected, and then you don't want to pay them is what I'm saying. I just don't understand.
The trick is, first of all, Bijan Robinson is one of those guys who's in the Jahmyr Gibbs stratosphere in terms of like the few running backs you're going to pay, maybe. Yeah. And he obviously got paid. It's still a lot less than like a quarterback or anything like that. And I mean, the reason I don't hate drafting a running back where they drafted him when you think he's a true difference maker is you get a few years of pretty good salary control over that difference maker. And if they don't wind up being that, then you just move on. And if they do, then you wind up in a spot like this. It's still a cheaper position than most. The challenge is, again, unlike baseball, this is a cap sport. And when you pay somebody else takes a little less. This, to me, goes back to, this is my argument with Jared Goff. I get the next quarterback makes $55 million, whatever his salary, but he's not a $55 million quarterback. He's a $40 million quarterback because he's not a top 5 quarterback. And I wish players occasionally, and I understand players all want to get their money, but if you want to get your money rather than have self-awareness, then you can't act like surprised that you don't have a championship team around you.
But also, Jared Goff could say, well, without me, what are you going to do? Because, getting a quarterback of his caliber, and I understand if you think about whatever ranking he is, but he's a guy that can get you to the playoffs and possibly win a Super Bowl, hopefully.
Awesome. Maybe.
Well, right, but I'm saying, but if I'm Jared Goff, I'm like, I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to do a discount
but that's
for
not,
you guys.
But if you're a basketball team and you've got the 14th best point guard in the sport, and you have no other option at point guard, it's not like you should pay that point guard like the top point guard in the sport. It's still just that guy can. Well, what else you can do?
Well, point guards it's easier to come by a point guard. I feel. I just saying in the NFL the way it is. That's
fine. He's got him
really
over,
hard to find any quarterback worth a shit.
He's got him over a barrel. I get it, but like also have some self-awareness and understand that that's why your team isn't all it's.
That's why I don't mind the Jahmyr Gibbs thing, holding out and trying to get your market value. It's when you try to exceed that or think you're worth more, and we just can't. It doesn't make any sense for anyone.
Like Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Jared Goff. He's just different. Yes. He's a much less value position, and so he's got less to.
So it's something I just don't want to have to go through this. Like, can we just sign him? Like now that the market's kind of been set, let's just go.
Get it done.
Get it figured out. Also, lastly, if you don't have anything,
I have one more, but you go next.
Okay, it's just really quick. I went and saw Spider-Man last night, and I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a threshold for like how long a movie can be before, like, if it's like you're not interested in it? Like if the Equalizer was last night, I would have been whatever.
If I
play it for 4 hours,
it's this simple. If I check my watch, and it used to be like I use what I call the English patient test. I don't know how many of you have seen the English Patient.
Oh man, yeah.
Okay, so this is.
I didn't see it, but I know it's like 3.5 hours.
Late 90s.
Yeah.
And I was all excited. I was going over to this young woman's house who was sort of dating at the time, and I was thinking we were just going to hang out and watch a movie, and she brings out the English Patient, and it was
Blockbuster and chill.
Oh my God, it was so long. And the worst part about it was her television had a clock on top of it, like a hand's clock, like. So it wasn't even like I was checking Back then I didn't even have a cell phone back then. But it wasn't like you were checking your watch or anything. It was like there was a clock on top of the TV, and half an hour in, I was like, there's 2.5 more hours. I don't know how many. So that I always use the English patient test, though, because I'm a big proponent of you should never bring out your phone in a movie theater, because people don't realize that little bit of light, if somebody's really engrossed in something, it distracts. It takes you out of the moment. You're a little less involved in it. So I'm like, never do that. Never ever do that unless it's an emergency or less whatever. But try not to go to movies if you're gonna have an emergency.
So your threshold, like anything over 2.5?
No, it's anytime I lead myself to check the time.
But how about if going in? Because the problem is that Treese told me how long it was before we went, which is like when I was in Vegas and the Uber person told me that the light, every stoplight was 5 minutes long. And I was like, why did you tell me that? I don't need to know. That's the part. One of the best parts about being dumb is that you don't realize stuff when you're in the moment. So that's why I need to know less. The less I know, the better off my day is going to be.
A reminder, just another reason that you don't need to go to Vegas. Our friends at Firekeepers Casino are just down the road. 5-minute stoplights in Vegas. None of that. I-94 in Battle Creek, you head down. You got Daisy's Taproom and Sportsbook. Yeah. You've got all the restaurants. You got the casino floor.
There's a cannabis joint around the corner, too.
All the vibes there at Firekeepers Casino. And, of course, if you want it at your fingertips, download the app today. They've retooled it. It's excellent. The Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app.
But, okay, so my point being, though, is like, because Treese, like, the Spider-Man movies are fine. Like it's not my thing. Yeah. But Treese she's into the Marvel stuff and all that. So
she has a hot take today about this.
Oh, did she end up getting an in?
Or not about this, but yeah. No,
when I said goodbye to her this morning, she's like, I forgot to get my take in. So
Treese always gets. She's a made person.
Just send it to couch.
It's fine. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, it's good.
But anyway, so I'm like, why do all of these movies? And they could have cut 40 minutes out. Yeah, but I'm so negative, and I just I just felt bad coming out. But it was a effing grind, Graham. It was a grind because I'm sitting there. I'm like, because I kept looking at my watch like you mentioned too, because I knew it was 2.5 hours. And I'm like, it was 30 minutes in. I go, 2 more hours of this? You got to be kidding me.
The other test is this. If I like a movie, so you go and you buy like, you buy a giant soda or something when you go in. Mm-hmm. The problem is if you drink that whole thing, you got to use the bathroom in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
If I'm grateful that I've got to use the bathroom and I'm excited for the break, that's a test of a movie. If I'm pissed off at myself for having zero control, knowing if I drank that huge thing I was going to have to miss part of the movie, then I know it's a great movie.
I was going outside of bathroom ideas. I was like, maybe I can just tell T, like, I'm going to go to Dick's Sporting Goods. You watch the rest of this. I'm going to go practice like their putting green or something, because it was just insanely boring to me. I don't know. I don't know. The movie in little spurts was all right, but it's just like that Marvel stuff's not my thing, and I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I just need to grin and bear. I mean, my wife sits there and watches golf for 5 hours with me. I can just shut up. But anyway, I just wanted to know what people's threshold. Go ahead.
So the last thing I wanted to get into before we get into the listener takes here is I've been getting a lot of questions about Michigan State basketball roster and Jaxon Kohler, and if anybody could, now that have been these rulings, including a judge in Colorado who basically had a ruling that covered all fifth-year players, that the recent graduates who had only played 4 years, the class of 2022 incoming players, are now eligible, at least as of today, as I'm talking. This could change any time, but are eligible to play at least for their former teams. Now, whether those who weren't in the portal are going to be able to play for other schools, there's some questions, but and it, of course, depends on which lawsuit you're a part of, whether you're going to be able to circumvent some of that and all that stuff. And so I've been asked a lot about this, and I know Izzo was on with Rothstein and basically said his roster was set, and that's my understanding from talking to Jaxon Kohler's dad, Jeff Kohler, friend of the show, we've had on here a couple times.
Yeah.
Is that I think they have sort of decided that he's not going to come back. And it's not that he doesn't view his time at Michigan State is formative and great, and it's not that Michigan State doesn't sort of want him. It's that just sort of best for all parties. Michigan State just built the roster over not having him. They've got a guy at power forward in Cam Ward whose time is his time. They brought in a center. They paid for a center. And for Kohler, I also think, like, and this wasn't so much from the conversation, but I personally, while I would love to cover the kid, I enjoyed it. And I think he has value wherever he goes. I also think that there is value in new voices and trying to, if you've got one more year to up your pro potential wherever you're going to wind up, whether it's in the NBA, overseas, whatever it is, but become whatever you can as a player and get paid one more time to have new ideas for your game, all sorts of things. Because one of the things he's going to take with him wherever he goes is sort of that the grit and rebounding that he developed, I think is going to be appreciated. But there may be some offensive minds who can tap into, get more out of him. But I also think it's, the thing about college sports, and this is my problem with the 5-year rule, is that there needs to be sort of a natural cycle of moving on. Rosters need to evolve. We saw it during the COVID time when, Tyson Walker and Malik Hall and all those guys came back one more time. It wound up being one more time too long. And sometimes you just, I think this is going to be an issue with the 5-year eligibility deal. A lot of guys, very few guys are going to finish their careers where they started, because 5 years is a long freaking time if you're not an NBA pro to commit to one college and one experience. And frankly, if you're going to wind up if you want to do graduate school, there are other opportunities anyway. But I just think, the idea that people leaving are going to be considered traitors to your school or whatever that is will become less and less of a thing. I don't think people feel that way about Jaxon Kohler. Here's a guy who, like Carson Cooper, finished, thought they were done, thought they were out of eligibility. The world may change around them and allow somebody like Jaxon Kohler to have another year. And things have since changed at MSU, and he wasn't thinking he was coming back to MSU, and so now what? And it's not that MSU, I've heard from some people that, MSU, there was a part of the people at MSU, there's a guy developed under them. They know what they're getting. They're getting an elite rebounder, a guy can stretch the floor. Who wouldn't want that? It's not that they don't want him. It's that you have to think about how you're building a roster and what happens to Cam Ward, who thinks he's starting if now Jaxon Kohler's back. What happens to the center you brought in? What happens to a lot of the pieces, which is a very deep roster? This is part of roster construction, and they didn't know if they were going to have him. If in April they knew Jaxon Kohler could come back to Michigan State, it's a different conversation. But I think that's part of what's happened. But I think overall, long term, I don't love the 5-for-5 rule, because while guys like Jaxon Kohler and Carson Cooper are who it's perfect for, you get Jaxon Kohler, who should have redshirted as a sophomore after he was hurt and then came back and played and should have another year based on that. And you have Carson Cooper, who should have redshirted as a freshman. And those are mistakes made. I think, coaches struggle with this. They want to get the most out of now and that season all the time, and they struggle to see down the road the impact of that sometimes. And, I need this guy now, right? And it's not just at MSU, it's everywhere. And those two guys, young players who never redshirted, who had a year, be it based on where Carson Cooper was development-wise as a freshman. And he played, 12 minutes in the Sweet 16 as a freshman. Not like he wasn't contributing, but who he was a lot of that year and starting that year, and who Jaxon Kohler was after the injury and falling behind a little bit based on who he was that summer. And that whole season that with A.J. Hogarth as the point guard was probably not going to wind up in a national championship anyway. Like that stuff, those two guys fit. They're perfect examples of who the 5-for-5 rule fits and would serve well. Overall, though, it's going to wind up with a lot of guys leaving, not finishing at the schools they were at, a lot more of that. It's going to wind up with fewer opportunities for high school kids, which I think is not great. I just don't think it's necessary. And I know they're doing this to try and get out of lawsuits. I don't think it's going to prevent lawsuits. So unless you wind up and maybe you get this bill that passes, the Save College Sports bill, I don't love that entirely because, again, you don't have the voices of the athletes. And that's been the whole problem with the whole reason we are where we are right now in college athletics is because for 100 years you didn't give a crap what the athletes thought. It was a fairly oppressive system, and you just, you commit a small crime, big penalty. You are a bad person, but
cherish this education.
Bad man. Yeah,
education first. Am I right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You may be think about the Fab Five, and I'm not saying the Fab Five weren't involved in some cheating. What I am saying is you are talking about people who culturally changed college basketball. One of the most important teams ever. the amount of money that they brought in, to this. I mean, when I was 12 years old, I was walking pigeon-toed, or thought I was, because I was trying to be Jalen Rose as an athlete, even though I can't walk pigeon-toed. But in my mind, I was walking pigeon-toed. There are still kids. Every kid to this day named Jalen or Jaden is because of Jalen Rose. It's the parents of that. Like that name was nowhere around. Jalen Rose is like half the kids in this country are named after Jalen Rose. And yet we acted like, taking a little money. And again, it was against the rules back then. You're supposed to play with it wasn't fair to the other teams. And that was a lot of places that had issues with that. But still, the idea that back then those guys weren't worth more than a scholarship. All this is the comeuppance to that, and we get that. And so not having player voices is difficult, right? But you're starting to see a few places talk about unionizing. You're talking about collective bargaining, athletes at Stanford. And yes, these are private schools and other things, and there are state laws. It's not going to be easy, and it could be messy for a while longer. I just think any law that goes into place without players' input is going to wind up getting challenged over time, and something's going to break down, and I don't think it's the way. The 5 years of eligibility thing, I think it has some times where it's going to be great and it's going to work for certain kids and it's going to be just, and there are going to be other times where it's like, I mean, you go back 30 years, there were kids who were getting 3 years of eligibility because they were Prop 48 kids. Ray Weathers, man, that guy's in his 50s now, but man, he deserves another year. Let's see if he can still hoop. It looks pretty good. I don't know. I don't love the rule overall. I think for Kohler and Cooper, I hope, for Kohler it gives him another chance to shine, and he's at a place that he's really happy, BYU or where he's close to home and his family can get there easily, or wherever he winds up. And again, would he be good at MSU next year? Of course. You know what he is. He's a proven player, and I think he's still got more to give. Would it help MSU's team overall? Would it help Cam Ward to have somebody in that place? Would the depth become almost too much? I don't know. They built a roster not thinking they were going to have him. And that's the shitty part about this whole thing. And the timing of the NCAA and this rule was ridiculous, as it were. And they had to know this was getting challenged. And anyway, but those are my thoughts. But on the 5 for 5.
But on that, real quick, about Michigan State and the possibility of Kohler coming back. I mean, in today's college landscape, that's not as crazy, right? So it's not about him really coming back, but it's about his 20-minute. Like, if he comes back, he's going to get, 20 minutes? So some players are losing minutes, and that disrupts your locker room, and that's probably the scary kind of thing. Because who wouldn't want Jaxon Kohler back for the season? Right. And
it's
just more of it. Will it be a bigger disruption when you promise things to guys, and all of a sudden that rug gets pulled out from underneath you if you're a player, and it's like, well, wait a minute.
Well, even when you're recruiting Cam Ward, you're talking about, so Cam Ward's walking into a situation and he's thinking, I'm going to Michigan State, and they have Jaxon Kohler, and he's a senior. I'm a freshman. That works.
Yeah.
And you think about development and what the steps people take from 18 to 19 years old, there was a lot. I think there was a lot more hope in some ways that Cooper would come back, but that had nothing to do with Kohler. That had everything to do with before the Anton Bonk signing. That was a position of need. Like if they had a Cooper type player returning and no Cam Ward, the idea, the desire to get back Jaxon Kohler would have been immense. Everybody would have been like, can they get Jaxon Kohler back, right? And I think that was I don't think it was anything against Kohler, but yeah, I think the roster's deep. It's set. Is it as good as are they as good inside with Anton Bonk and Cam Ward as they were with Carson Cooper and Jaxon Kohler? I don't know. They're different, but ultimately this is the situation you've put together, and you're. This is the roster you put together, and life isn't always fair. But I just don't see. I think Izzo would struggle to sort of re-recruit over somebody. Now that said, these are unique circumstances because this is a guy who's part of your program through and through, and he's run through brick walls for you, and he's rebounded and shot and made shots in the biggest games, and he's been a part of things, and he's and you also know what you're getting from him. His floor of work ethic and all that stuff is extremely high. But anyway,
it's the American way. Except America has gotten soft.
I think the idea that Kohler's coming back, I think can likely be put to bed.
All right, ready?
Yeah. Well, let's dig into these listener takes. You all set?
All right. Kurt Wisniewski up first. Everyone expected Skubal to be gone. Casey Mize was a shocker. The Tigers did better with the Mize trade. Well, when they held Mize out from his start, I was like, okay, that's why it wasn't a shocker. Kurt, but
yeah, I didn't see it as a shocker either. Now, when it gets down to the last minute, I didn't know if it was
you were
happen.
rooting for it, so it shouldn't
100%.
be a shocker to Couch.
Well, rooting for it's different than a shocker. I was.
That's what I mean. Like, I wasn't surprised when I saw the update yesterday, and I saw that he went to the Padres. I was like, oh.
So I was tired of Skubal and Mize for different reasons. I was tired of the Skubal saga. I just wanted it to end.
Yeah.
And so when he left and they also got what I thought was a fair return, I was like, great. With Mize, I was just tired of the constant injuries, and I'm not a huge fan of the look on his face after when he's just kind of weak energy character. I don't know what it is. It's my own thing. Look, I'm a hideous.
He's got a stupid looking face.
I'm a hideous human being. I understand this is all. I do not look good, but this is so
pretty hard on yourself, man.
Yeah, but
it's not like you're the elephant man.
But I'm making fun of another person's appearance, so I need to point that out. Yeah,
that's what we do. Karen, given the end of his coaching tenure at his alma mater and his personal character, it seems Pat Fitzgerald was made in a lab for the MSU job.
Yeah, he's fit-wise. I think it's not just that; it's coming after the person he came after, right? I think we all saw with Jonathan Smith, a guy who I think's a good football coach, and fit in certain ways, but ultimately wasn't a good fit, right? He just couldn't communicate the way people needed him to here. He didn't seem to. He didn't grab this place. He didn't fit this place the way Pat Fitzgerald seems to. And again, then you have what happened at Northwestern. You have a guy who's supremely motivated, who understands the Big Ten, who understands MSU at its best. Out of a lab, maybe a bit much, but you're right. In terms of fit, he is it.
But back to Smith, though. Did he show that at Oregon State? Like, I know that he had a couple, 9-10 win seasons there, and the offensive line was a big priority there.
Well, it was his alma mater, so I think that was the other thing. He automatically fit. It was his place. He was the quarterback that led him to the Orange Bowl.
So Smith is a good coach if you put him in a situation where he's
well, So if Smith had played at Michigan State, so say Smith is the quarterback. Say Smith is Bill Burke instead. So he's the quarterback of that 2000 team that goes to the Citrus Bowl, and the one that beat Ohio State. Anyway, well liked, right? Played at Michigan State.
Yeah,
I think he would have gotten another year for sure. Like Bill Burke, as masking as Jonathan Smith, gets one more year. And I think the fact that he wasn't from around here, but then the other,
I just think you need the personality. No matter if you're from here or whatever, you got to get into this thing and have a kind of a personality, right? I just don't think you can get away with it.
So you brought this up, and I think this is the most fair question. And if I were to ever have a sit down with Haller about this again, and at some point I might try, would be when you were meeting with him, he had to know that he was not this great orator. You know what I mean? Like you can.
Well, maybe he had a whiskey sour or something. Maybe he had a personality that night. Like it was really just knocked him over or something.
Maybe.
Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a.
Oh, shucks, man.
Yeah, but I would be curious what he saw there, because I'm sure he knew there are people who can sell it better than this guy. But I think
we could put Smith in a room with you, though. Right? Couldn't you, if you and I were in a room with Smith and we were talking to him?
You would like him a lot.
Right, but talk about a winning football coach. Is he giving you, I don't know, you've been around way more coaches than I have. I just feel like you'd be able to tell in the first 30 minutes of being around him.
I think people thought he was a really smart, competent coach who put together a good staff, and I think there were good members of his staff. But, I think they were looking for competency, a good coach, low drama, and I think what Alan Haller was looking for and didn't find, and this is where personality is different and fit is different, is Mark D'Antonio. And Mark D'Antonio is a Midwest guy. There were a lot of differences, but he was looking for Mark D'Antonio, and Fitzgerald is not Mark D'Antonio either in terms of he's way more outwardly fiery. But Fitzgerald, to me, is closer to D'Antonio in terms of roots and here and other things like that.
E4 next. Pat Fitzgerald did an incredible job at Big Ten Media Day. He's already bringing a renewed sense of culture and identity back to Spartan football. I have no doubt he'll exceed expectations. And bonus, the Go Green, Go White chant is the best stadium chant in all of college athletics.
A lot of optimism from E4 here.
Let's go green, go God.
That's the better chant, though.
Yeah.
Let's get that one going this season.
He sold it well. But he's always done that. He's been my favorite opposing coach of Michigan State to talk to at media days going back a decade. Because he was somebody, if you were doing an issue piece on and you needed to comment on something that was happening in college football or something about Michigan State's roster from an opponent or anything like that. Number one, he had been there for a while, so he had institutional knowledge and things like that. But he also has always been eloquent. He's always been willing to give of time. He's never looked through you. He is not Jim Harbaugh. He is not Jim Delaney. These are guys, he's somebody who's going to look you in the eye and give you an answer and be respectful, and you're going to leave there feeling good about your answer. Even if he doesn't give you anything, you waddle away like, hey, just give me a good answer. He's always going to win media day. And that was part of what Michigan State needed right now, by the way.
Cooper, next. There should be less reporting on NFL training camps. Let me live with the belief that the Lions will be healthy for a full season. And baked. Ovid can't be that boring. I read over the weekend that a former Ovid cop got arrested in Meridian Township for assault.
What's going on out there in Ovid?
I saw that. Yeah, well, she was fired a while ago. But what's really interesting is I saw a picture of this cop, and we ran in the same circles back in 08, 09. I recognized her. I was like, oh, damn, that's what happened. Huh? Okay.
Those were not years that you would want to be in your circle necessarily, though, right?
Oh, I mean, there was probably, the last 5 years you'd want to be in my circle. The best version of myself, I feel, the past, quit kicking booze. So I don't want to say, oh, yeah, 08 was a great time.
But 09 was when you ran the failed sports book. And other things like that. Yeah. 09 was,
I'm saying I was good time to party with. That is definitely for sure. And that's where I hung out with her.
By the way, if you want to be the best version of yourself, you know what it's very close to? Muskox flannel season. So, again, go muskox.com. You want to get ahead of the game, starting to get cool summer nights, starting to think about fall and football season. Again, go muskox.com. Check out their latest offerings, and it is not long now till you'll want to be in a flannel, watching football, hanging out at the in the backyard at the campfire. Oh, my God. Flannel season's the best. And, of course, Muskox Flannels does it better than anybody. Go Muskox.
30 degrees in gray.
Yeah.
My wheelhouse.
By the way, are you sick of training camp news? You just want it to go? Yeah,
absolutely. And then seeing Kobe Bryant for the Bears, their safety, he's out 10 weeks and being carted off. And it's not I know they're a rival and you can't cheer for injuries because you don't do that. It's bad karma. But it's God, I just don't want that to happen.
10 weeks is the perfect injury. You're back.
I understand. I understand that. But you come back from an injury it's not good. Kevin M., the existence of the blue wall cannot be denied. A lengthy expose by Beth LeBlanc in the Detroit News this weekend covering the Guskowitz acceptance email to Clemson. But the sleuths over there can't find any details on the multiple scandals over in Ann Arbor. What a joke.
So,
welcome to the blue wall.
I'll say this about Beth LeBlanc, though. You know how when you're a kid, maybe it's just me, but I used to create rosters. If I was creating my baseball team, here are my guys. If my basketball team be this. When you're 10 years old, right? You're creating your ultimate NBA team, college basketball team, whatever it might be, right? If I was, and as an adult, I create newsroom rosters. When I buy the Lansing State Journal or the Mining Journal up in Marquette or the Journal Standard in Freeport or the Kalamazoo Gazette, whenever I win that and I get a hold of these things, I have a roster of people that I'm going to hire and overpay and make this industry work. Beth LeBlanc is at the top of that. She is a star. And we had her at the LSJ for a brief time, and I knew it was going to be brief because she is just incredible. Also a very good soccer player, by the way. Played co-ed team with her. Vicious. Tough player. But she, anyway,
it's a good way to describe it.
Incredible journalist, zero bias, not,
vicious
no part of the blue wall. You want her on, you want to sink her in any story, though, that you're going to do. So, again, you bring her name into it, it kind of diffuses the other stuff. But, and that was it's a reasonable story. Kevin Guskowitz left Michigan. He was the president of Michigan State. He took the job somewhere else. There's going to be a period of time where there are going to be stories on that. Doesn't mean there shouldn't be as many stories as possible on Michigan, and those are harder ones to get, and people ought to be foiling those, and I think they probably are right now, even if they're a little behind the times. But this one was an easier one to get. But, Beth is not part of the blue wall any way, shape, or form.
Just vicious playing soccer. Max, number one, the Skubal situation is exactly why Major League Baseball needs a salary cap. Most teams would be in the same boat. And two, I now know that what it must feel like to be a Michigan fan with both Los and Sean Windsor trying to cheer me up with their stories about Scott Harris doing the best he could, which was Los apparently, and how well the Tiger rookies are playing. That was Windsor. Are they building a kiddie wall around the Tigers?
Like the blue wall, it's a kiddie wall.
Wait, that was Los's column? Scott Harris did the best he could? See, that's his reverse psychology, right? He's doing that to get you all fired up because you don't want to read that if you're a diehard fan.
Yeah. And the problem with writing so many columns that people don't want to read is then they miss the ones that they do sometimes. That would just point that out.
And you just absolutely ignore it when you see the headline?
From one piss-poor columnist to another, I know this.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry.
So you're putting Los in your category of piss-poor. Interesting.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh.
He's better than me. Yeah, no. Look, the salary cap conversation is going to be fascinating offseason because if the owners are truly stuck to it, I don't know that we play baseball for like a year. I just don't know that. I don't know. I don't see the Players Association's one of the stronger. It might be the strongest in.
Why are they the mafia?
No, eventually they need
Tony Soprano or something.
Eventually they'll give way, but I'm saying they. I know,
but I always hear that. Oh, they're the toughest organization.
Well, it
just sounds like some shit my dad used to say at the GM hall. When he would take me to those stupid union things at those halls where everybody was smoking indoors. Oh my God.
It's amazing you're alive. It really is.
It really is.
It's remarkable.
It's a miracle. Since birth, dodging uppercuts.
I love that he used to just when you were like 12, just give you $20 for the weekend and say, go at it.
Yeah. Invite your friend. You need to invite 2 friends over. Here's money for pizza. I'll be back Sunday.
It's amazing. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. If you want to gamble more responsibly, Firekeepers Casino, again, is here for you. Go to Firekeepers, is off I-94 in Battle Creek, or you can download the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. And don't gamble with your kids. Just do it with your phone.
See, now I'm just thinking about Beth LeBlanc. If she hears your compliment on this podcast, and then a question later, you go like, "Los is way better than me."
Oh, I see what you're saying, the credibility stuff,
right? Now all of a sudden he's throwing these out.
One is sarcasm, one is not.
Which one?
It's
not Los.
Yeah. So no, I'll be curious to see what would not have happened to the Baseball Players Association is what happened to the Basketball Players Association. The second apron, which is basically a hard cap that got put on them, and they somehow didn't see it coming, and now they're like, wait a second, what? That doesn't happen to Major League Baseball players, and their association happens to the basketball player. That's what I mean. They're just a more savvy, more together group.
We're not wanting them to take a gigantic pay cut. We don't want them to get paid $5 million a year or something like that. You can still make your money.
Yeah.
Can we just make it more interesting where one team just doesn't take over everybody and pay this crazy tax to do it? I don't know.
No, I agree.
Professor, the fact that the Tigers didn't get one guaranteed big leaguer is astonishing. Hearing the ESPN Dodgers reporter laughing about it on the radio was tough. Now a middle-aged man take. The things some people wear in public are truly baffling. I don't expect a suit and tie, but come on now, society.
What did you see is what I want to know. You got to give us more, Professor.
Pajama pants, I'm guessing.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because that pajama pants, no matter where you are, what are you doing wearing those out?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you are absolutely sick with the flu or something like that and you need to go in and get some sort of meds, I get that. But if you're sitting there doing your grocery shopping, wearing that shit, it's just come on, man.
There are some shorts that have made their way back into the world that are a little inappropriate.
A little too high?
A little too high in the back end. Yeah, you're
for dudes?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why are they inappropriate for you?
It's just because you're like, that's not cool. You can't, because it's embarrassing for the person wearing them. That when
yoga pants, some of these ladies with the yoga pants at these
gyms,
they don't when guys look over, they just get all mad. That's how they get those gotcha videos on TikTok apparently. And I'm just well, what are you supposed to do as a dude? If you're a heterosexual dude and you look over and this chick's got yoga pants up her butthole, you have to go wow, interesting. That is interesting. And then you move on with your day. Now you don't oogle or do Chad Latt stuff, but you know.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm with you on the shorts, though. It's just, but for dudes, too. I don't know when we're talking about the Fab Five, when it would bring some of those baggy shorts back. some of these shorts I have to buy 2 sizes bigger so my right testicle is not, hanging out of these things.
Yeah, if you're a man or a woman,
what are we doing?
Get
rid of these shorts.
Wear appropriate things. And then also, if you're really good looking, be grateful you're good looking. If you're a man or a woman, and if people look at you, be like, man, that's great.
That's
obviously
the whole point, right?
But obviously, if people are, there is a difference between being the creepy dude in the corner, oh my god, yeah, don't be that guy. Don't ever be that. But yeah, if you look good, I wish people would oogle me at the gym.
Yeah,
I go to the gym, nobody oogles me ever.
Yeah,
nobody. I cannot remember the last time someone
gay dudes, chicks, who cares? Whatever. I would if you like what you're seeing at all.
Take it. If somebody oogled me, I would come here and talk about it on this show. I would be excited.
Oh my god.
Oh,
you give Couch such an ego.
Oh, to no end. Please oogle me.
See him, yeah.
I would. Yes, oogle me.
Just walk up to him somewhere and just stare at his ass cheeks.
Oh, I would be excited. My goodness.
You have to find him, but stare at him. Professor, the fact that the Tigers didn't get one gear, I read that.
Yep.
Fucking A. Mayor of Fitztown, Izzo should hold a team vote amongst the 4s and 5s to decide whether Kohler comes back. No excuses about recruiting over his players. Let them decide.
Well, so that's even problematic, too. Number one is because the players you're hurting somebody's feelings. The job of the coach is to make the hard calls, sometimes the unpopular calls. Sometimes you make tough decisions, right? Uncomfortable conversations, whatever you want to call them. But, like, if you're putting that on your players, guys who are friends with Kohler or guys who may be position he would take minutes from, like that, you don't want to do. That's not on them. That's on you. And again, I think this is a moot point at this point. I ultimately think he's going to wind up somewhere else. And I think it could be really good for him. Now, if Michigan State, like, it's just when you look at their roster, it's just hard to see how you don't start to get too many dudes at certain spots. And where's the playing time going to come from? And I'm talking for a lot of guys. Now, maybe it works. And if Kohler announced tomorrow that he was coming back and they said they wanted him and they were working it out, you'd find a way to make it work. And I ultimately think he would wind up playing the 5 a lot next to Cam Ward, because I tell you what would be a hell of a lineup. A Jaxon Kohler, Cam Ward, Jordan Scott, Josiah Jervis, Jeremy Fears lineup. Now, that doesn't have Cohen Carter. You can see there are guys in here who are, Caleb Glenn is, I think, going to be a real impact player. There are a lot of guys who are looking for minutes. Anton Bonk has just been brought in. You're paying him, more than you're paying the school president to be a center. And so there's lots of issues there. But if you wanted to talk about a lineup to me that would be the best lineup you could put together, it would involve him coming back and a guy who can stretch the floor like that. And is he as big as Bonk? No, and there might be lineups where you do that a little differently. But I think you'd see him a lot more at the 5 playing alongside a sophomore Cam Ward.
Matt next. Not so hot take. We all need to start tailing Norm's picks.
Heck yeah.
That's right, Matt. That's 2 outrights, Couch, in the past month. Tom Kim at the Scottish and Michael Thorbjornson. Outright wins, baby.
That's incredible.
Let's go.
That's incredible.
I know. Norm's getting a big
ego.
So
what have the odds been on those two? Do you know offhand?
Tom Kim I got him at 88-1,
nice.
And what was Thorbjornson? 41-1.
All the more reason to download the Firekeepers Casino.
Let's go. And we got picks for the Wyndham coming tomorrow.
Excellent.
So boom, let's do it again. Hotter take: bringing back Kohler disrupts the chemistry of this team. Even more so for Holloman. The only guy who makes sense is Coop, but he's already signed to Memphis.
Yeah, Cooper's not going to play college ball next year. And now I think for him it would have been a different conversation if he'd been able to in April. But people got to move on, right? And I think Kohler's at a little different spot. He got a little nicked up in the summer league, and I think what he has to show, because they're different styles of players, is Kohler has to be a consistent shooter. And I think he has that in him. And we saw that at the beginning of the last season. And we see guys develop as pros all the time, and that shot is there. One more year would really help him, I think, get a more serious look. And I think that probably makes more sense for him. But yeah, Holloman doesn't fit. He fit last year's roster. He doesn't fit this. He made the decision to leave, and those are the consequences.
John Johnson next. Number 1, given how Izzo has used the portal so far by supplementing the roster and not finding a top 1 or 2 player on the roster via the portal, do you think this is his last real chance at a title? And if so, how long do you think he sticks around knowing he has good teams, just not elite? And 2, if MSU football lost every game this year, would Fitzgerald be fired, or would he get a second year no matter what? What would it take for him to be fired for on-field results before year 3?
Okay.
It's so great to have these questions back. These ones,
So we'll start with the football one.
Yeah.
Yeah. If MSU football went 0-11, they're not going to fire Fitzgerald. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, it would be concerning as heck.
There would have to be a scandal, though.
Right, because that's 2 MAC losses to start the year. Like they would have to be much worse off. But
this podcast would be over.
Oh, geez. But it's still year 1, and you've just fired a couple coaches. You've gone through this transition. Fitzgerald is a proven commodity to some degree. There would be concern, lots of concern. But this isn't like a first-time head coach who's never won a game before, right? You go, maybe he just doesn't have it. And so it would be bizarre. Now, what would it take for him to be fired at the end of year 2? I don't know. Year 3, you're going to have a new AD soon. And I think if in year 3 you hadn't had a bowl game yet, again, I think you'd start to go, well, wait a second. I think that hadn't gotten to 6 wins. It just continuously had losing seasons. And then you also, when you look at what happens in some of the years that go south, at the end of the year is rough. The end of the year until the final game for Jonathan Smith, rough. When the end of the year is sort of this spiral, you can kind of see it coming. So it also take that year 3, it's like, man, they didn't get to 6 wins again, and this is ugly. I think, for any coach at this point, that would be enough. To the first question about whether this is Izzo's best real chance, or last real chance, I don't know. The reason I would say that to be careful of that is I've thought a couple other times that he had the type of teams that could be his last chance, and he keeps doing it pretty well. Like, he keeps recruiting pretty well. So let's say this is the last, and remember now, you have 5 years of eligibility, which completely potentially changes next year's team. All these guys playing this year, if they wanted to, have a whole nother year. And again, that's so long in college for the same team. I do not think Jeremy Fears, barring injury, is playing more than this year. I would be a little surprised if Cohen Carr does a 5th year. It's not that he won't. It's not that he might, who knows what his pro prospects will be. But that's just a long time at one place doing the same thing. But you can see, a lot of these guys being back, and now they all have an extra year. And you look at, if Josiah Jervis is, and sophomore, Jordan Scott would be a junior, and there's a lot of guys on that roster that I think could be really good a year from now. Next year's team could wind up being as good or better than this year's team. It's hard to predict, and the 5-for-5 things change things, and he's done enough recruiting at an elite level out of high school to, look at this year's class. It's a really good class. Who's to say he won't do that again?
People are nuts. I'm not nuts. They're nuts.
Sparty Barb's not nuts. Way too early MSU football takes. Number 1, MSU special teams play gets us to 8-4. 2, MSU upsets Go Blow at the Big House by kicking a 40-plus yard field goal in the 4th quarter. And 3, Brennan Parachek catches for over 300 yards this season. And bonus, Jordan Hall will average 5.5 tackles a game for lost yards. Not
sure you can get these props at the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app, but interesting nonetheless. I do think LeVar Woods is going to make a difference in special teams. I don't know whether that will be the reason they get to 8-4. The most interesting, compelling case for Michigan State to have a really good season is they're a little bit better than we think. They're better up front than maybe they've been in a while. And then their defense is a little more sound. But there's just so much uncertainty around them in the Big Ten on their schedule. There are a couple. Oregon might be the most complete roster in the Big Ten, that's in college football even. That said, if you look at that, we thought that about maybe Penn State a year ago and things fell apart. So you'd never know. But beyond a couple teams on their roster, there are a lot of teams that what is it? What is Illinois going to be? I don't know. What is Wisconsin going to be? I don't know. And so the argument for a year that's surprisingly good is Michigan State's a little bit better than you think, and some others around them aren't.
Some dude next went to Moneyball last Tuesday, and here are the takeaways. I saw Ebling. He's really fucking old. Jeez. I thought about him cranking farts on the Rube in the Family. That was Tim Stout, some dude. It was not Ebling, did not rip a fart, although I was in a car with Ebling once. Saw Jordan Scott. I told him that a very famous and important contributor from the Couch and the Rube show has a crush on his mom. Oh, no.
Dominic.
And saw a bodybuilder playing basketball named Caleb Glenn. Holy shit. We'll say that this team is going to absolutely look like an old school Izzo team where dudes look more like football players and will intimidate some opponents by just showing up. Fears, Ward, Bonk, Glenn, Avent, Jervis, all beefcakes. And bonus, Medlock could be Iverson 2.0. McCullough made 203s.
I was over to practice the other day because I was working on another story separate from that. But
in your off time?
I just sort of unofficially, yeah. Okay. And went anyway. I will tell you the intensity of the practice with these guys, and a lot of guys going to be competing for minutes.
Let me guess, Cohen Carr hit 43s in a row.
Well, he always hits 43s in a row.
Okay.
But that's a different story. But what you see is the depth of talent, like the level where I think these guys know they're going to have to win on the practice court to earn minutes. And they haven't always had a team where, like last year, it was you knew who their main four guys were, and other guys developed around them. They wound up being a really good team. I don't think there's any idea other than Jeremy Fears who the best lineups are, and I think that's going to make for a really interesting. But
Medlocked, Iverson 2.0. I mean, what do we?
I don't know about that.
Taking that or
well, Medlock's has a chance to be a very, very good player, and I think as a freshman he has a chance to actually bring something as a backup point guard to Jeremy Fears, and I think he's in a perfect spot because when you're the backup, like the buck stops with Jeremy Fears, it doesn't stop with him. He's got to be sound enough. Now the thing about being the backup point guard is you can't come in and turn the ball over. You can have all the talent in the world, but you got to be solid. Well, I mean, the thing that made Trey Holloman valuable as a true freshman, a little more than expected, was he was sound. And I think Carlos Medlock has more upside than Holloman did, but you have to also be sound when you're in those for those minutes when Jeremy Fears is out. Let's take a really quick break. We come back, more of your takes. Couch in the Rube, our Tuesday show, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook app.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American-Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing.
Please like and subscribe to the Couch in the Rube YouTube channel. Also, download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
Couch in the Rube, our Tuesday show, presented by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and the Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook app. If you haven't downloaded the app, check it out. They've made some serious upgrades there. They've got great sign-up bonuses. And also, do so responsibly. We don't want to be, we talk some betting the games here. We don't want you to get yourself in trouble. Do so within your means. Know your unit. Stick to it. Because you never know, if you're betting against the Tigers every day and they go on a run, it can get a little bit painful. Also, quick show note: we will have our next show on Friday. We'll do Groovy Donut Twitter questions and dig into to everything that you're wondering then as well. And we'll be off one more week next week before we're full go when I'm up in Marquette next week.
Are you bringing intern Nolan with you? I mean, this is going to be 2 weeks we haven't seen him. He's not here today, right?
No, he's not.
I didn't know that.
He had something going to Tuesday. He's available on Mondays. I'm not taking him. I'm taking my daughter Cora. And we're going to dip her and throw her in Lake Superior.
Nice.
And see if she floats.
Baptism.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, maybe
How long of a drive is that?
Without her, it's like 6:15.
Ooh.
With her, we don't know. We're going up the night early to get in a hotel because we don't know how long it's going to take us.
That's smart.
I mean, yeah. Just based on some of the meltdowns after 2 hours in a car seat or an hour and a half in a car seat, we don't know what 6 hours.
Do you guys have noise canceling headphones?
We have
earbuds and all that.
Yeah, and Elizabeth's in the back. The whole thing is like she's fighting for her life in the back, and I'm just up there listening to soccer in the front. It's great. It's a great deal.
Oh my God.
My life is so good.
So amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds so fun.
Yeah, no, it's a total different deal for her. But and then you also we have this annoying thing, and I really like our Jeep, but where if you put the blinker on and there's a car in the lane next to you, it beeps rather loudly to let you know don't get over into that car.
Really?
Sounds like a great idea, except the problem is you're not often intending to swerve into the car next to you. You're just trying to put your blinker on early before so people know you're getting over.
Yeah.
And when Cora's sleeping, that wakes her up every freaking it's the worst.
You got to get a new car.
I got to be very careful about where I am, what cars are next to me before I put on the blinker. It's
no, you just need to get rid of the car, right? Like, wouldn't you go to the dealership, right? Like, I just would go after the show.
It's a lease that runs like another year.
Yeah, you can get out of that.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
You know.
But the problem is all these...
Tell them what's going on.
Yeah, listen, man.
I'm sorry, that's crazy.
Yeah.
My car does that if I get too close. It does that red. I can turn that off, but you have to turn it off every time you get in the car. So I forget because it annoys me.
We can't figure out how to turn it off. We've looked. I don't think...
I believe you. I don't think you can.
Yeah,
like I'm saying, you can turn it off like when you get in, maybe.
Right.
But then it'll just kick it right back. But
it's not great. Also, one final show note. A couple people said on Twitter or on Blue Sky that they emailed me their takes today. I may have them in there. If I don't know your actual name, I don't know if I got them. And then one person I didn't see who said they did. So maybe a subject line like Couch in the Rube takes or Couch in the Rube show takes. Just make something obvious because maybe I missed it. I looked pretty hard for your names and didn't see a couple of them. Just wanted to make that clear.
I feel like that was a reply that could have been happening. We can't get that time back.
Sorry, I apologize.
I have to fix that in post.
Yeah. All right, let's dig back into these takes.
Mojo Jojo, the Dodgers payroll alone tops the combined salaries of every AL Central team. That's gross negligence by Major League Baseball. Add the Tigers being ass and the Cubs stuck behind a $10 a month paywall. Rest in peace, WGN. And it's clear why I'll never watch baseball with the passion I had 10 to 15 years ago. And bonus, the fact that Latz hasn't created a theme song for Couch in the Rube is the greatest missed opportunity since Nolan posted the wrong AI image on the Couch in the Rube Instagram. Also, Jason, can we get him to record versions of all the songs you play, Iggy Pop, Feliz Navidad, etc.? Brother, if it were that easy as you just laid it out, if it was that easy, I would definitely have him do something. But yeah, I usually have to wait until he does some like thing at midnight where he just all of a sudden posts another song. I don't know. I've got him like a couple years ago when Michigan fan Jordan and his wife Sam got married. I had to pay for this, but I did get him to do a video for those two. So Latz did a wedding video for them, and that took. I don't know. I don't even know how I got it done, but since it was for their wedding, I went through with it. So.
Latz knows this show exists, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know if he does or not. I know he gets tagged and stuff, but like I said, he loves watching himself. He loves the fact that people like him.
Right. He would love this show.
He would absolutely love this show.
It's amazing.
Come on.
Yeah.
I play all of his stuff.
It's amazing.
Let's go green, go God.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
It's unreal. That's unreal. Yeah. R.I.P. WGN. That was, one of the great treats growing up when we did was you came home from school, Cubs games on 3:00.
I sound like such an old guy.
I know. Sorry.
Oh, one of my great treats. When they went TBS and WGN. Yeah, it was absolutely awesome with Harry Carey hammered out in the freaking with the fans.
Amazing.
Shirtless. Take me back. Frank Vachner. Number 1, Scott Harris finally learned to shit or get off the pot with the Skubal trade. 2, it's the Dodgers world. We just live in it, whether we like it or not. And I'm the latter. Baked. Better odds. MSU winning more than 8 games in football this season or having baseball in some form in 2027. MSU winning more than 8 games.
You do not think there's going to be baseball next year at all?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I really don't either. I think
we're going to need steroid era again.
Yeah. And there's
that guy's juice.
Here's the thing. Baseball, the sad thing is baseball has actually made some real strides in terms of watchability in the last few years. Mm-hmm. And I watch a lot more baseball because of it. I just enjoy games that aren't involving the Tigers. It's quicker sport. It's better. Yeah, I like the
the World Series was great last year.
Yes.
It came down to it. So whatever we want to say about the Dodgers or whatever.
I even like the 6:40 starts. These things end earlier than they used to, which is nice.
I hope I'm wrong, but I just feel like if I had to bet on it, there's not going to be any baseball in 2027.
If they're not playing by the time the NBA finals end, they got a problem. Because that's when you do real damage. School's out. You don't have any. You're the boys of summer, and there's a window where you got to fill it. And this isn't a World Cup summer next year, and you got to be playing right now next year. You got to be playing in July and August, and if it takes that to get it sorted out, you can recover. But if you cannot miss a World Series, and you got to be around late in the summer.
Olivia from Birmingham next. Number 1, Dodger fans were laughing when they found out they stole Tarik for Stole Tarik.
Yeah.
All right. Baseball fans and reporters coast to coast all say we got robbed. Don't gaslight me that this was smart.
I already
the
did.
Tigers and Chris Ilitch are a joke. 2, may I zag on the Coach Fitzgerald hype train? Sure, he looks and talks the part, but he imploded in Evanston after losing longtime defensive coordinator Mike Hankowitz, and he was destined to be fired. If Eastern or Toledo steals a win, Spartans and columnists will be forced to reappraise his final seasons at Northwestern.
There's no question it ended poorly there, and I think, one of the things that we're all sort of drinking the Kool-Aid on, and we'll see if it's true, is this idea that, that was the beginning of the NIL era when it was getting really serious. Not the very beginning, but the beginning of real NIL funding college football, and that Northwestern was well behind. And he's talked about that, and that he has spent time figuring out what it takes, looking at other programs. And you got to take him at his word for that right now, because otherwise you're just a jerk, right? Like, what are you going to say? No, you're lying, man. I don't believe it. There's no way you've learned anything. It's not. But you're right. If it gets, and again, this isn't what an ideal roster should look like. But so I don't know that this year is going to be entirely fair. But yeah, they're like, it's not a for sure fire home run. I think it has a chance to work. That's what I've kind of said all along.
Thomas Zambiasi next. The Tigers' new prospects could turn out to be good, but not addressing the glaring weaknesses in the bullpen as part of the Skubal trade should be grounds for firing Scott Harris and Chris Ilitch having to sell the team to someone who will actually spend money on their players. And bonus, Chris Ilitch and Scott Harris should be the primary source of blame for all but inevitable Major League Baseball lockout.
That's too much to put on them. I mean, there are elements.
Yeah, we could do it, though. Let's do it.
All right.
You're right, Thomas.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ilitch and Harris.
There you go.
For no baseball next year.
It's on you.
2 pricks. It's unbelievable. But by the way, back to Olivia, though. Did the Dodgers steal Skubal? Of course they did. Well, he's a back-to-back Cy Young winner for what you gave up. But the Tigers had no options. It's like we let him pitch out the rest of the season, then lose him for nothing.
But if he was going to go to the Dodgers in the offseason anyway, they could have given up nothing. So what they're essentially getting for him, and granted, they have the postseason, the Tigers don't. What they're getting less, like the thing is, it's not like for the Tigers, he had probably 8 irrelevant starts left. For the Dodgers, he has regular season starts that are irrelevant, but then you have postseason Tarik Skubal, right, which helps a team like them. And we all want them. Look, the Blue Jays outplayed them the Blue Jays should have won that. We all want them to lose, and they are going to be the villains until this whole financial thing changes. It crushed me that the Blue Jays didn't win that, and I didn't even. I'm not like a Blue Jays fan. I just found myself rooting hard for the Blue Jays, and I think people will root hard, most likely for whoever is playing the Dodgers in the postseason this year.
Thomas Zambiasi next. The Tigers' new prospects could turn out to be good, but I read this already. Kevin from Rochester Hills. Number 1, the Dodgers will not win the World Series this year. 2, August is not the end of summer. It's the start of fall.
Again, go muskox.com as you start thinking about it. Don't waste time. Don't be ready. It's not. It's fun. I'll tell you, last night, little crisp this morning, I'm on my walk with Cora around the neighborhood. She's looking at all the trees. They're not turning yet, but it feels a little fallish.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you tell her how ass it's going to be in about 3 months?
I did.
When you're walking around in snow.
Well, I like that.
I mean, that's what I mean. That's why I don't get your love for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Couch on fire. The Doyle-Alexander trade syndrome is maybe why teams like Milwaukee and Atlanta shied away from a deal. Doyle-Alexander traded to the Tigers and went 9-0 and helped them get into the playoffs. The Tigers just gave up a very young journeyman pitcher named John Smoltz. You do the math. And bonus. Very interesting that fans are all upset that the Ilitch family won't spend all their money for a fan's entertainment.
So the Smoltz, I wish I could remember this better. I was at a lunch with John Smoltz maybe 3-4 years ago now when Javier Cavazos was still alive, Lansing legend, who I wrote about late in his life. Anyway, he was John Smoltz's manager when he was a little leaguer and a little up, like 16 and under type thing. And so Smoltz came. We were at a restaurant in Lansing, and there was a table of like 20 of us. Anyway, Smoltz is a great storyteller, and he was telling the story of that trade. And I didn't catch all of it exactly. I just can't remember all of it exactly because there was more to it than I ever knew. And I wish I could wait a sec, what? And some of that has to be told because it's not as simple as I think people always have thought.
But you don't remember it.
I don't. I'm an idiot.
So you bring it up.
Yes.
And then you don't know what he said.
This is why I'm bad at this. I can't believe people listen to the show. Thank you for doing so.
You're the best. Dude.
Thank you for doing so.
Okay, are you done?
No, and so, but going back to that,
You said something amazing, though.
I mean, I remember they lost to the Twins that year in '87, and I mean that's the thing that could still happen to the Dodgers. And I still remember Kirby Puckett being interviewed after one of those games early, and they're gonna be okay. I was like 7 years old. I was just starting to get into it. What I didn't know in 1987 is that I wasn't going to be able to see Tigers playoff baseball until Maglio hit a home run to send them to the World Series. Nobody told me that you were going to go. I mean, it's amazing that guys like you and I are still fans. This is the difference in generations. Now people like players, they move on to their, individual players, they move on to different teams when things don't go well. People who are our age stuck by a club for 19 years without a playoff appearance. And, it's like, all right, well, they're our club. You grow up with them. This is the thing. So
but to answer what Couch on Fire is saying, though, like, you don't know that Smoltz is going to become a Hall of Famer when you make that deal. If you tell me right now, we're going to make a push and we're going to try to make a run. I think that's all fans kind of want is that we're going to go all in, especially Detroit fans. We have not heard that in forever. So if you want to do that, I feel like we're ready to sign up. Like if we had to sign something that you cannot complain, if we lose and we're shit next year, I'd sign up for it, right? I would go, okay, deal. Well, at least we're going for it. But
and I think with Smoltz, like Tigers fans forever, like, yeah, that sucks that he wound up being that good.
Absolutely.
But everybody understood the trade at the time. Like everybody understood they were trying to win it, and they probably should have in '87.
All right, Spartan Dog 97. The owners are colluding to force a salary cap. I saw that being thrown out yesterday, thrown around.
I don't know. Maybe. I want a floor, though. I want the Pirates to have to spend. I want people to respect their fan bases. I want owners to, if you're in Detroit, you're not in a small market, and people.
But if you're in a small market, the prices at the ballpark should be small market, too. You shouldn't have to pay $9 for a water. I know we've talked about it forever.
We should have to do that anywhere. Like
I understand. I think that should be the way any baseball park or whatever should be. Is if your team is ass, how many ever games you're under 500? Like
that's the price. The price goes down.
Drops down. Come on.
I love it.
People are willing to pay for a winner.
Yeah.
But you're sitting there trying to get me out when you're selling at the deadline. F you. That's crazy. Jonathan Smith's burner next. Chris Ilitch is the worst owner in the 4 major sports. Considering what he's inherited, to put things into perspective, the Ilitch family is worth $7.6 billion. The Dodgers ownership group is worth $7.8 billion. Absolutely dog shit human being. All right. Bonus, the Rocket Classic was absolutely amazing. Sat front row on the first tee, and the crowd was electric. Detroit is too good of a sports town not to get another PGA event. And P.S. Perry Johnson is a chode.
You enjoyed the Rocket Classic.
Oh, it's amazing. I hope they can find another sponsor. What they did with the renovations there, Jonathan Smith's burner's right. Like, it was just, I was really surprised how many people were there when we were there on a Thursday. Mm-hmm. And the crowd, it appeared to be on television when I was watching that it grew each day. So, and I know they actually had a way better field than in past years, but it was a well-run event. And I hope they can figure out, someone besides Cure Auto Insurance guy.
Yeah, we don't want him. Anybody
else?
No
Eric Poe. Although I would, if it happened and Eric Poe was there, I would be all right with it. I guess.
Would you?
To keep a PGA event in Michigan, it's crazy with how many great golf courses that we have in the state.
But the problem is, if it was done by Cure Auto Insurance, something would be done on the cheap. Like all of a sudden, like somebody would be like on the 15th green.
Oh, you'd make a claim and then you wouldn't get.
Right, you wouldn't get paid, or like the green would just give way and fall in like a sinkhole. It'd be like, oh wait a sec, they went cheap on the course.
Is that what happens?
I don't know.
He takes money out of the golf course as a sponsor. All right, Matt Salisbury. Number 1, I don't know how to feel about the Skubal trade. I feel like people are shitting on it, but knowing the Dodgers probably knew they were going to get him anyways, they didn't feel obligated to offer much. That said, I think that outfielder could be a stud. And 2, I think if MSU takes on one of the fifth-year guys, someone will transfer in basketball. I think it could potentially help the football team.
I don't understand this. How does somebody leaving in basketball help the football team?
Maybe the fifth-year guys could help a football team.
Oh, I see. The fifth-year guys could. Yeah. I see what you're saying. It would have to happen quickly here. I was, like women's soccer, and this is every sport. The fifth-year thing isn't just like who's eligible and stuff like that. Women's soccer starts this week. Like this stuff is happening way late. The NCAA knew this was going to happen, and they created an unnecessary mess. If they did this in January, and again, then they wouldn't want the fifth-year guy, But like this was, or they could have waited till August, and then you wouldn't have any questions. Those guys would be done for sure. I don't. They made an absolute mess of this unnecessarily.
Scotty Green's El Camino. Number one, the Tigers knew they wouldn't be able to keep Skubal. Held on long enough to see if this season had promise. Did what they could. Had to trade him. Can't be critical of the return because it was the best available based on the trade market. Get young and focus on the future. 2, I think it's feasible Izzo hates this extra year of eligibility ruling. He's likely at a crossroads between loyalty and a migraine, thinking about rotation and impact on the current roster. No offense to Kohler, but this roster needs Cooper more, and he's out having signed a 2-way contract.
Yeah, no, it's look, they're in on Anton Bonk. They're hoping Jesse McCullough's ready. They've got Ethan Taylor. They've got big guys. They've got a guy they think is going to be an elite rebounder and Cam Ward. And this is the natural progression of college athletics. 4 years works. It always has. And you get certain guys who redshirt because they need it or whatever. They're injured, and they get a 5th year. That whole system worked. Lots of things about college basketball were unfair back in the day. The way it used to be, 4 years and an injury or whatever or development created a 5th year. And the thing about both Cooper and Kohler is that development, like Cooper should have been redshirted as a first-year guy. That was as a freshman. And the injury to Kohler as a sophomore should have been redshirted. Like, that's why it kind of fits those guys. But it's... Yeah, overall, the 5th-year thing is, it's hard to plan, too. Like, think about this. Think of your Izzo or any other coach, and you're trying to think about next year's roster. And all of a sudden, all of your guys are eligible for another year. But how many guys really want to do a 5th year and do it at the same place? So wait a sec. So how do you recruit to that? Do you recruit to the planning of everybody gets 5 years? It's going to be a mess in a lot of ways. I mean, people don't understand that 5 years is unnatural. It's going to be tricky. It's not going to be easy. And I think this is I don't
We only saw this coming, though.
What do you mean? Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
it's like we're just up in arms now. Like, didn't we know that this was a possibility?
Well, we didn't know the 5th-year thing was happening until recently.
Oh.
I mean, until,
that they could get away with it. I got you.
Well, that it was actually going to be the way it is. And now, I think the 5 years is going to be, not a fan.
All right. Trust in the process. Max Clark is the white boy of the year. These boomer Tiger fans will hate him. And baked. MSU football will win 7 games this year. If you look at the last few years, coaching alone cost us 3 to 4 games. Fitz will find the inches and overcome the lack of talent like he's done so many times before.
Yeah, we'll see. We've heard. I don't know how to. Practice does start Thursday, so when we come back for Friday's show, I will at least have 20 minutes of practice, and there will be some interviews and a little bit of sense of things. And again, that you don't really know anything in August, but it's you get a sense of the tone of things, and but again, that's been wrong before. I thought a year ago in the spring that, and I don't believe that I was wrong in this. I think Michigan State thought they were going to be a decent team a year ago in the spring, and they didn't wind up being that great. I think they thought. So they can be wrong, too, and you can misread it there. And, I think D'Antonio in 2019, I've told this story before, I think he thought he had a squad. I think he thought he had a roster that can contend again. He did still have a defense. We saw it for a while when they went to Ohio State, and for a quarter and a half where there he was close there. But the offense that had been a problem in 18 and really hadn't been the same in several years was nowhere near. The offensive line was nowhere near what it needed to be. But I remember him at Media Day. I would have bet anything that he truly believed he had it. So they can be wrong, too.
Keith next. Only 2 for sure losses for MSU football I see are Oregon and Notre Dame. I think there's a lot of unknown with this team in the Big Ten.
And with every team in the Big Ten. Yeah, no, I think there are. I think that's, if you look at their roster, you can go up and down it. And that's Michigan included. I mean, that Rutgers at the end, who's going to be what? And, you'll read things that Wisconsin's going to be good. All right, well, maybe. I haven't been good in a few years. Illinois has been good, but you can listen to Brett Bielema, and he's got a million new guys, and he doesn't know. And so what will that look like? Northwestern, what are they? I've seen all sorts of predictions on them, and that'll be Aiden Childs. What is he? Yeah, I think there is a ton of unpredictability. And I think that's largely throughout the sport in this era, too, except for teams at the very top.
David Jackson next. This is what Skubal said after emotionally telling the press how he wanted to win a World Series as a Tiger. Except I'd rather get more pay, even though I have more than enough already in the bank combined with what Detroit was going to pay me. So that's my great-great-grandchildren would never have to work a day in their lives, even though recently I've only been able to provide 6 innings per start because I'm not in good enough shape to last longer in games. That's a Tarik Skubal quote, apparently, from David. Said Tarik Skubal on Saturday, probably. So. Bonus take. It would be nice to sometimes see either hot takes or Friday questions from either or both Doug Warren or Cody Tucker.
Yeah, it would. Doug, Cody, let's get with it. Yeah, I love those guys. We would love to have their takes. We would love to have them on.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, Doug's a legend here. And Cody was,
he's still in our open.
Yeah.
That's Doug in the open, man.
That's right. And Cody, every time, you do Michigan, man, that's Cody when you do that voice, right?
It's Wyoming, man. Let's go get some grub.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this show up early. This is boring crap, soccer crap.
There you go.
Therese, next. While playing Super Mario Party Jamboree, Sam and I got 3 out of 3 in perfect cut minigame, which is an amazing feat.
This is her take?
I hate it because she does takes like this, and then I have to explain what it is, and it really is not worth explaining. It's a dumb game that couples play. We play online with Sam and Jordan, and it was one of the mini games. I don't know how to explain it. Like, she does this. I was like, why do you do this to me, Because you put it in, and then I have to explain, but it doesn't mean, like, who's...
Therese.
But it tests my marriage, like, because she's going to get mad because I'm talking this way about this thing. But I mean, like, what am I supposed to do with that?
Therese, you keep
We played Super Mario Jamboree. Like,
text late as you can with these takes. I'll make sure they get in every single time. Do not worry.
I mean, right? You going to help me out here as a fellow guy? Come on, guy.
I think they're great takes.
Fuck. I'm not saying it's a bad, but I mean, like, what is it?
Yeah.
Where's Inter Nolan? Izzo for president. Who will go down as the better QB? Lewerke, Thorne, Noah Kim, Lombardi, Childs, or Milivojevic? The list is pretty depressing.
Well, we don't know what Milivojevic is going to be yet, and so it's not really fair. I mean, who knows what he's going to be? And it's not really fair to know because like Lewerke showed a lot of the similar signs I would say that he did. That Milivojevic did last year early on. I thought he had, good arm, light feet, all that stuff. I thought there were really promising signs. Peyton Thorne had some, had some promising signs too. Not as much as Lewerke, but then reached a point where he was adequate for a while. And Noah Kim really didn't. And Lombardi had some limitations, but had a moment. Childs still, in terms of athletic talent, is the top guy there. But right now, I'd say Lewerke is in the lead, and the injury really set him back, right? Is Lewerke's got to be in the lead there,
or the Red Box Bowl.
Yeah,
might set everybody back.
That set the sport back.
Spider-Man Brand New Day changed my life. Next, apparently. Number 1, is this Treese again? Number 1, I haven't listened to the show since MSU lost, but because I'm so too sad, finally tuned in, and you have a baby and an intern? What the hell did I miss? Are they the same person? And 2, new Spider-Man movie changed my life. You really like that movie. Okay.
All 3 hours and 45 minutes? Is that what it was?
That was 2 hours and 35.
I will say, you said it was what you called it a grind, you said, to get through, right?
Well, yeah, because I knew going in how long it was going to be, and it got off to a really slow start.
How many times do you think our listeners, when we do shows that go 2 hours, are like, man, that was a grind when they finish listening?
0.
That's right.
Or they hate the show. They don't like the podcast. There's something in this podcast. Every single one we do that will make you laugh, I feel.
That's true, yeah.
Or something ridiculous.
We're better than Spider-Man.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point.
That's our line. That's our tagline. Yeah. Better than Spider-Man.
Better than Spider-Man. Wendell, next. Someone asked about the douchiest coaches in the Big Ten last show. Hint. Anyone that says we don't have a chip, we have a whole bag on our shoulder, makes the top 3 of that list. All right. Bonus, Graham, stop making the Wire references, you penis. I'm literally watching it right now.
I'm sorry. Shows that were on from 2002 to 2007. The
Wendell, you ruined it. You almost got a fake gift card.
Yeah.
Like, for real, that was great. But come on. Like, dude, you can't get mad about shit.
I think he's kidding. But yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then.
I hope he's kidding.
The Zier Hope of Southern Maine. Next. This MSU fan base is so broken, some people get fired up for lame shit like bag of chips on our shoulders. Pat Fitzgerald is a chud. Chud is underrated.
Is a word?
Yeah. Calling someone a chud. It's really underrated. Oh, man. I'm so glad I didn't proofread that. Ken Shu, collective bargaining has little chance of happening in college sports. Players would have to be employees, which comes with unemployment benefits, and every school would have to agree to let the NCAA bargain on their behalf. Schools and conferences will never be able to agree on the required extent.
It's going to be tricky. And it would start with some sort of, and you're seeing hints of it. It'd start with the players. And then if the players wanted it, you'd start to see movement on the other side. I think it could be something where we are within 5, 7 years even, but it's, you got to have the other side negotiating. And to be fair to the idea of the Save College Sports Act and people saying, we're going to do this without the player voices, players right now are in this mode where it's like, hell, we're only in this for 4 years, and let's get everything we can, and why would you want to collectively bargain? And frankly, this is why there'd be a really weak union. They're young when they get in this role. They've got a limited time. They're not going to be willing to sacrifice. And the lifespan of a college athlete is just too short, and there are too many different types of sports and revenue, non-revenue, and everything. It's going to be tricky to have a strong union with that. And so if you're not going to stand up and have a voice, and you don't make moves to do that, then people are going to try to pass laws without you.
Josh Inwood next. Baseball is a cautionary tale for college football. A handful of teams with resources dominate, and every other team is just kind of meh. If college football doesn't act, there's going to be 5 and 8 teams that dominate, and everyone else is just kind of meh. 5 or 8 teams.
Yeah.
Sorry. Baseball is dead to me. And I know what you're going to say. If I or anyone else is feeling meh, we should take our sorrow to Groovy Donuts, which may be true, but you know what I want before I leave this earth? Some damn Detroit championships, or at least some shots delivered down in ice luge circa 1997 Munn Field style.
Yeah, Groovy Donuts is here for you, though. If you're feeling meh, it's one of the best things you can do for yourself. Go to groovydonuts.com or swing by either location, Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing, or in Williamston, Thursday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Yet, I think the danger in anything is that not everybody can live the dream. And I think this is part of the problem with college sports now, and I've talked about this, the mid-majors. You don't have to have a real shot.
You can't even daydream, though.
It's really hard. I mean, I talk about the years when I lived in Kalamazoo and covered Western Michigan.
No kidding.
And they could live the dream. I mean, because what you dreamed of back then was not being Michigan State. That was never going to happen. But you dreamed of being, say, if you're Western Michigan, you dreamed of being, in basketball, you dreamed of being Southern Illinois, which went to 6 straight NCAA tournaments and Sweet 16s.
Sounds like we have different dreams.
Well, I'm just saying that
I don't know what dreams you got over there.
Yeah, well, that would be an interesting show. Let's talk about our best and
You're
worst.
Never going to be Michigan State. Oh, okay. Well, Jesus, there goes the dream. Northern Illinois, that's more you guys. Oh, my God, dream reimagined.
There you go.
Fuck, I'm back on. Munfield Keg, Olivia Rodrigo guested with the Smashing Pumpkins at Lollapalooza, uniting one of the biggest pop stars of the moment with a classic 90s band. It was an awesome moment for music fans, and she killed it. Someone obviously raised that kid right. Take notes, Graham. Teach them the classics.
We're working. We're a lot of classics. And then my mother comes over and plays, it's Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and
hell yeah.
It's so she gets a lot of, she's getting nothing.
Oh, you're about to say
time.
Lawrence Welk, and I was like,
no. That would have to be like great grandparents who are no longer alive. Yeah, that's not gonna.
She's a little bit younger than
even that. If you go on, I don't know if you can find that stuff anymore. You remember for a while on satellite radio, they had like the 40s on 4, the 50s on, like, I don't think the 40s are on 4 anymore, but it was like, man, are there enough people listening to 40s music? They put this on channel 4? Who's deciding to do this?
Yeah, check us out, see? 40s on 4. Back in the good old days. Take me back. Kim from Brighton. Do you guys think Indiana could win the conference again? Listening to Cignetti's viral smack talking last week, he sounds even more confident this year. Example, targets on our back, so we bought a bigger gun. He must be seeing some very special things at practice. I'm assuming Nick Marsh is one of those bigger guns. And bonus, the best pasties. Is that right?
Pasties.
Pasties.
There you go. Thank you.
Maybe you should capitalize the S or put an H in there. The best pasties in the state are Zingerman's Bakehouse. Note, not their famous deli, their bakehouse on the south side of town, right off I-94. Is this a live read? Bakehouse sells them frozen, hot on Sundays and Mondays only. The crust is so buttery and flaky. Interior is so beefy and moist. 10 out of 10.
Does sound amazing, Kim.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Couch is rock hard over there.
You know what my wife's least favorite word is? Well.
Oh, yeah. Butter. No, I know it, actually. Oh, man. Moist.
Moist.
Yeah.
Oh, she hates that word. Moist. Oh, my God.
It's good that you tell people that.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's almost like doxing someone and telling like what their address is.
She also hates the word lovers. Lovers and moist.
What? Why lovers, though?
I don't know. But at one point, the guy who married us, Mickey Yurton, had that in the... And you get my
you two lovers.
And somebody took a picture like right when he said it, and my wife's face is just like, what? We're up with like this. I
Not
thought we
talking
got that
about
out.
this.
Yeah.
No.
Lovers?
She hates lovers.
Do you think she wants you saying that like on the show?
We're late enough in the show. I'm confident she's not listening.
All right, good. All right, Skylar. No one sent her to this show. Skylar was excited to find out Grand Rapids is getting a soccer team until I saw the name. AC Grand Rapids is such a lame name. I'm so sick of copying European names in soccer. This is America. We're allowed to have fun with sports names like Portland Timbers or Columbus Crew.
Well, my biggest issue with the Grand Rapids team is I think it's a USL team, and the stadium's built for like 10,000 or whatever. It's going to be really cool downtown. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is going to be a great stadium downtown there, and I'm jealous of Grand Rapids for a lot of reasons. Like Lansing could be Grand Rapids. Kalamazoo could be Grand Rapids. The way it's come up in the last 15 years, like what do you have over there? You're not on the lake, yet you have the lake effect snow. Like what's the why them and not us or anything else? But I also think Grand Rapids is one place that could actually have an MLS team. Like the west side of Michigan is a big enough market to do it. And Detroit screwed it up, and Michigan hasn't had any pro soccer, and like the stadium's just too small for that. You built it too small. To me, I wanted a 25,000 seat stadium that had a chance to get an MLS team.
Rich Searing next. I'm going to avoid going on a long rant about the supposed blue wall, and I know Graham will find reasonable excuses, but let's face it. The media covering up or not covering the BS at that place goes back decades and will never change. The ESPN hit piece on trying to connect Nasser, Izzo, and D'Antonio is just another example of crappy coverage. Had the situation happened at Michigan, it wouldn't have been so prominent. Nothing will ever hit the fan with this new situation, and things will continue as they always have. It's not that MSU fans are obsessed with Michigan. It's the complete and utter arrogance and hypocrisy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little. It's just this can't stand. It's spite. It's why why do they get every advantage sort of deal? I mean, I understand it. There is something there though. And now, to your point, the ESPN stuff was poor journalism. It was shit journalism. And, I know it might have been more one graphic than a lot of extra, but there was a lot of conflation of those stories. And when you put Nasser on a graphic, you got to be much more journalistically responsible. Bob Lee done a lot of good work in his life over there. Should have had to publicly apologize for that. Everybody associated with that story should have publicly apologized for that, because that is uncalled for. If you can mess up a lot of ways in your life. You don't. And I'm not saying Izzo and D'Antonio did. What I'm saying is a lot of levels, a lot of layers between Larry Nasser and anything else, right? And so even if you're accusing somebody of something, you got to be really damn careful. And they weren't, and they deserved. I mean, their credibility should take a hit from that for a long time.
Lions reply guy next. Jason is right about Michigan and the New England parallel of Spygate. Spygate was much more obvious attempt at cheating versus Stallions and a technicality due to other teams not having the funds to send someone to scout opponents. If the Lions won via Spygate, I wouldn't give a crap. And Jason, would you rather the Lions are the number one seed and guaranteed to play the Rams at home to go to the Super Bowl and let the chips fall where they may? Or would you rather the Lions be the wild card team but guaranteed to not have to play the Rams and let the chips fall that way? So we would have to play the Rams at their house.
So, no, the idea is you wouldn't wind up playing the Rams, but you'd have to play an extra game, or you'd play the Rams, but you'd have them at home. You wouldn't play the Rams at all. Somebody else would take them out. If you're the wild card team, what he's saying is in this scenario, the Rams are...
Whatever gets us to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What are we doing now?
Yeah.
Playing the Rams at their house? I mean, I wouldn't be scared of playing. I mean, their stadium's kind of Allegiant. Or not Allegiant. What's your stadium? This question has me thrown.
Yeah, sorry. It's SoFi.
Oh, yeah, SoFi. Adam next. Who is going to be MSU's new AD? Need some names. Can we get someone who won't squeeze fans like Bat? Maybe someone who doesn't look like they've had laser hair removal from the neck down. Those are the guys you want, though.
Yeah. I mean, just keep your eye on Bartholomew at Western Michigan. You know, Palumbo.
We have been. Stout told us.
Yeah, yeah. And look, Palumbo is I think a very competent, capable guy at Michigan State right now. But I would just keep your eye there.
Ralph E. next. Jason, there's a thread on Spartan Mag about the Mad Dog Show. A few choice comments. Without question, the most arrogant and worst host interviewer I have ever listened to. He is an acquired taste, one which I never acquired, but different strokes. That's not bad. That's a decent take. I don't know. It's not terrible. Here's another one. I still couldn't make it through the interview. Way too much back in the day and not enough here and now. And from Comp, Lansing Radio. He didn't say this, did you?
Yeah, Comp said it.
Comp said this?
Yeah.
Lansing Radio is his natural habitat. Putting the Mad Dog rants out there for a broader audience on YouTube and the like will stun some people. This is what Comp said?
Yeah.
Oh, so he went on the thread. And
Okay,
sorry. Yeah. He's definitely unorthodox, and I think you are among the stunned. You have to live in Lansing to get it. I got to say, Comp, that is...
Well
did
said.
he use ChatGPT? Because that
well
sounds
said.
like something that ChatGPT, for me, like would put together. Like, you're trying to be nice.
Yeah.
I've watched a couple... oh, man.
It's
like, dude, it's honestly like listening to a show from 2010. It's the same. It was the one I watched where he was just alone by himself.
I think that was the one he was hoping to have me on. Yeah, and I couldn't do it. But
he can't talk to his producer on it, and he gets real mad. So he had this one show that was just by himself, and he started telling. And he does have good stories.
He does,
but he needs someone. I don't know.
We had him on this show once, and if you can find that episode, you'll know why we haven't had him back.
It's great to have him back. I don't know.
It's great to have him in town, and at some point I will go on a show. I'm happy to do it because I like Mad Dog, and like
you left
I said,
him hanging.
Well, I just it's not a great time for me to do it, but like I also.
I heard him talking out there. He's like, "Oh yeah, Jason Nick, my producer back in the day. He's a rube. We'll have him on. He'll come on." I'm like, "What?"
Comp would be like, "For Linden
you deleted my
Elementary."
number." Yeah. By the way, great response from Comp, dude. I mean, that's really classy. Like, man.
Lansing Radio is his natural habitat.
Yeah.
Putting him in a broader audience will stun some people.
I'm jealous of being able to talk that way.
Comp's a smart guy.
Yeah. Matt C, number one, Graham, you are surprised Ward got away with the equivalent of NCAA murder. They are literally the coked-out, spoiled rich kid who gets away with murder because of who their dad is. In this case, it's the Fox execs who are all Michigan alumni. 2, MSU football needs a plant the flag top 25 win this year to energize the donors again. There is no juice with the donors, and if we continue to spend below the rev share like this year's roster, we are dead on arrival.
I mean, the key is, do donors and do they believe? And also, what is the framework for competitive college football going to look like in a year? And it's going to be more than whatever it is. It's going to be more than 20 million, right? So, however you get there, you've got to have money. You've got to be able to generate revenue, and yeah, it would help to have a day. What you need is you can have that win, but you got to continue something. Like I'm going to tell you, like when Michigan State beat Boston College last year in double overtime or whatever it was, that was an exciting night for people, right? Nobody saw what was coming. And what you can't do is then go to Nebraska and play a team that isn't better than you and play that poorly. You can't then have the UCLA game. So it's not just having a moment. This program needs a moment, but they need a moment, and then it needs to be a little real.
Spartan Johnny next. Why am I going to other podcasts in order to listen to Tom Izzo speak about his team? For God's sake, can we get an interview, say quarterly, with someone besides Sean Windsor or Chad Latz? We've had Latz on. You're sitting on a gold mine here, Couch. We're just asking for this occasionally.
We're just trying to let other podcasts exist. We don't want to take everybody from every. No, I've said about the Izzo thing. At some point, we should have Izzo on. We haven't, and for whatever reason, we'll have him on this fall. We'll figure out a good time.
I thought it was because of the LSJ.
Well, Izzo we could do because Izzo is accessible enough. Like I can get Izzo on the phone. I can do stories with him all the time, and so like I can't have. Like, before I do a sit-down interview with Pat Fitzgerald, I can't have him on this show before I do one for the LSJ. That's the stuff that I can't do. By the way, we got a live take right now from Fart Soup, who just texted me.
Okay.
I listened to the first 50 seconds of the Mad Dog interview with Como, I don't know how this Mad Dog is, but it's the most unhinged 50-second start to a podcast I've ever heard. This guy's in Lansing. He needs a TV show.
Dude,
amazing.
Like I said,
he might be insane. He does have a TV show right now. He has a TV show this year. They're here in Lansing. He has a TV show now.
Yeah. Beyond the Playbook, which no one has come up with that name. So there's like 50 Beyond the Playbook. I don't know if you can find. Like, it's a wild. I don't understand what it is. It's like it's at Channel 6. It's at a TV station or something. So good luck with it, man. I hope he does well. Hans Jurgen, number one, if you are in Rapid City, South Dakota, stop at Sour Bakery. Best cinnamon roll in the world. 2, if you're ever in Wall, South Dakota, step on the gas because it's boring as fuck. 3, when not in Lansing, I commit donut adultery on Groovy Donuts by eating donuts elsewhere. It is quite erotic and titillating. Bonus, I met Spartan fans from Grand Rapids at the Corn Palace in South Dakota. Spartans are everywhere. We're quite insidious. And double bonus, have you guys ever traveled abroad to engage in acts that are illegal in your native land?
I don't think I've ever committed a crime overseas because I don't worry about it. Well, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
You're committing a crime when you go there and drink at 19 because you come back over.
I guess if we're considering Canada abroad, yeah, you're right. In 19, that's the rite of passage here when you grow up in Michigan. You go over to drinking.
It wasn't that hard to get into pre 9/11, but
Canada, is it hard now even at 19? I guess they don't.
Well, I'm saying just in general to get over the border, it's harder because of 9/11. Back when I was going, it was 99, 2000.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything like, I'll give you I didn't do this intentionally, but in Scotland, when I was at choir school in St. Andrews in 1995, I was 15 years old. That's when I got drunk for the first time.
Yeah.
And because, there were all these 18, they drink at 15, first of all, they would serve you, 16, they would serve you with a meal. But there were all these 18-year-olds at the choir school, and that's what they did. And you can drink at 18 there, and you get drunk on the beaches of St. Andrews. It's incredible. It was fun. And then you go perform at a church service at night. It was quite titillating, as Hans Jurgen would say.
You went to choir school in Ireland, dude?
So I grew up at the St.
You were
Paul's.
the whitest person I've ever met. I seriously, definitely worked with. Definitely the what? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you're the whitest person I know, I think.
I went to St. Paul's Episcopal Church, grew up in the church choirs, and every 4 years they took the high school choir to over to England to tour for a couple weeks and then spend a week at a choir school. And ours was in St. Andrews, and it was the week after John Daly won the British Open there in 95. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Jake Hawkins, the story got better at the end. Jake Hawkins, number one, Skubal to the Dodgers. Wow, didn't see that coming. Oh, wait, I possibly did. Chalk Gang blew in as the three-peat World Series champions, and I wouldn't count on any baseball being played next summer due to a labor stoppage. More power to what the Dodgers are doing, but it's bullshit too. And 2, now that it's been declared basketball players from the 2022 class can come back for a 5th year, do whatever it takes to find space on MSU's basketball roster for Jaxon Kohler. I'll bet he's hungry after the way last season ended. And 3, you forgot to answer one of my Twitter questions last Friday that I'm particularly interested to get your take on. What are your thoughts about AI data centers and their impact? Mason is contemplating having one built.
Yeah, I did see it, and I didn't want to get into it. I apologize, Jake. Yeah, I am not as outraged as some people by them. I'm also not. I don't think they're the answer. A lot of people do, and I can also understand why you wouldn't want one in your neighborhood, especially the sound some people say they make.
But I think it's about the jobs they claim that they can bring to those data centers. I was crushing tape on data centers too, because I've been interested because you see it in the news all the time, the local news. So I'm interested in.
They don't bring that many jobs though.
They don't. But when I was looking into it, it was trying to claim that some of these places would have 400 people working at them. I'm like, I don't know. There has to be more parameters on some of these things.
Like a lot of people, if you think these data centers are the answer for your area, then your area's got bigger issues, and that's part of the problem in Lansing. Is the argument that some people think it does.
People don't even want a cannabis place in their vicinity.
Yeah.
Right? Data centers just sucking the life out of your... Anyway, finally, the jerk guy to get us out of here. AI is funnier when you just think about it being Allen Iverson answering all your questions and giving you all the information.
That is a good way of looking at it.
That is. AI. Bonus. The Dodgers buying a World Series championship is much more different than the Red Wings doing it in the late 90s for Stanley Cups, but only because I'm a Red Wings fan.
There we go. If it helps you, if it serves you, it's the way it is in college sports, the way it is in most things. If it serves you, you justify it for sure. If you want to place a bet on the Dodgers or the Tigers to pull off a miracle or anything, download the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. or you can just swing on by Dacey's Taproom and Sportsbook on I-94 in Battle Creek at the Firekeepers Casino. We appreciate them, as always, and we will be back on Friday. We'll dig into your Groovy Donut Twitter questions, and yeah, I think it'll be a good show. If it's not, it'll be like this show. So we'll figure it out. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.